Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are delighted to welcome you to VIRŠI Investor Webinar. Today we are hosted by VIRŠI Chairman of the Board and the CEO Jānis Vība, as well as member of the Management Board and CFO Vita Čirjevska. During the webinar, you will be introduced with VIRŠI key activities and financial results of 2021, as well as an insight into company's future plans. After the presentation, we will have a Q&A session. To submit your questions to the company, please use the chat window. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Jānis and Vita, who will proceed with the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very delighted that there are many investors into this call. And here today with Vita, we will introduce you with 2021 financial results of our company. We will also talk about some activities which are happening in the company, and of course at the end we will be welcoming your questions. And maybe a few days or few weeks ago, we saw that this event will be very optimistic, and we will be very happy to tell you about our achievements and our great financial results. But unfortunately, over the last few days, we see that events happening in Ukraine are really terrible, and we are in our hearts, of course, with Ukrainian people. Therefore, maybe I will start with some actions which we are doing in order to help Ukrainian situation, and also we'll tell about how this affects our business model. So if we speak about what exactly are we doing in the situation, so firstly, we have walked through and identified several tens of jobs which we are ready to offer to Ukrainian citizens which are refugees because of the situation. And we are now working on doing the paperwork so that we can support Ukrainian people, at least in this way. We have also donated to several institutions financial support in several tens of thousands euros, and in that way we are also showing our support to Ukraine. We also, as of yesterday, we have basically terminated all our relationships with partners in Russia and Belarus. There are two segments which are affected. So the first one is that we have taken out of our shops all production which is produced in Russia or Belarus. That's the first thing. And then secondly, we also historically have provided some customers with opportunity to fill fuel in Russia and Belarus by using our application or our cards, but evaluating what is happening, and basically we have concluded that we cannot support this business segment anymore, so we have terminated these fields. I need, of course, to emphasize that both of these segments are not material to our business model. We have estimated that the impact on group's gross profit will be less than 1% of termination of these segments. So, of course, it's not so that this would have any, let's say, significant impact to our business model. Now, there are, of course, some questions in media about the deliveries of fuel, and I can mention that we are working currently with two major oil producers. One is located in Lithuania, which is in Mažeikiai. Second one is in Finland, in Porvoo. And we see that they have also confirmed that they are now already continuing diversifying the sources of their crude oil, so that this dependency on Russia is becoming less and less. And we have also got confirmation from our main partner, which is this Orlen operating in Lithuania, in Mažeikiai, that even in case there would be complete exit from crude oil coming from Russia, they would still be able to provide Baltic market and also us with the oil products. And therefore, we don't see any, let's say, material effect, and we don't see also any place to worry about deliveries of fuel. So all in all, we can conclude that the health of company's business model currently is not significantly impacted by the current situation. But as I mentioned, of course, the main part here is that we are in our thoughts and hearts together with Ukrainian people, and we of course hope that the situation will sooner or later somehow stabilize. So that's about maybe introduction, and now I will give a word to our CFO, Vita, who will tell more about the results in 2021. Sorry, and before that, I am reminding you that Virši is not only a fuel trader anymore, but also we have a large focus on convenience stores. We are already seeing that this convenience store segment is becoming more and more important for us, and in terms of profit, it is already close to 50% of group's total profit. On fuel, I can remind you also that we are working on this alternative fuel, including CNG and electricity. And then in 2021, we have also started the third business segment, which is our energy segment, in terms of which we are already providing our legal customers with electricity product, and we are working hard so that in 2022 we could also provide such electricity product to private persons, and after that we would also be working on establishing trading of natural gas for both of these segments. So that's about a quick reminder about who we are, and now yes, Vita will tell you more about 2021.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jānis. So we're now in quite pretty and sad situation globally, geopolitically wise, and that's 2022. But today I would like to present you and let's say be proud of what we have succeeded so far, and how we have built up till up to date, and building up to be ready to the next challenges. So it's my pleasure to present you the very strong and very strengthening and empowering year of Virši company. And if we see that the rise in the previous years has been continued really strong also in 2021. We set the target to reach 9 million EBITDA when we entered the IPO in October last year. So right now we can present you the EBITDA of 9.7 million according to consolidated IFRS financial statements. If we look at the year as such, then let's say the last 2 years in Latvia and also globally has been quite turbulent period due to COVID. Right now it might not seem so material looking at the global situation as it is in 2022, and we actually a couple of weeks ago we expected COVID to be coming to the end, but let's say it's a new challenge right now to face. But during these last 2 years, these challenges provided by COVID also made us evaluate our strengths and weaknesses internally and see what are our options for the future. We have been expanding and building up our business. We have been diversifying our portfolio. As Jānis mentioned, electricity joined to our portfolio, and right now I'd say team-wise, vision-wise, and also according to balance sheet, we are the strongest as we ever have been. Also, in the very end of the last year, we opened 4 new stations, and we believe that will add on some muscles for this coming year. But looking at the profit and turnover and other critical ratios, I would like to tell you that our profits have been rising very strong. It rose by almost 60%, 58% for the last year. We also had this hedge for the next periods in electricity. We had the electricity financial derivative recognized in our balance sheets, and the net effect provided us 1.1 million income in the financial income figure. but also excluding this one-time recognition in our results, we know that our net profits rose actually by 32.7%, provided our return on equity rise by 12.8%, adjusted to the instrument. And as we see, our KPIs and our balance sheet strength is growing up by the years. And right now we feel really strong, and also at the net debt capacity, we are also in a safe side. And we see that our liquidity allows us right now in February and March 2022, when the situation is pretty around us, to feel strong and to be powerful to go on in the future. But Jānis, let's present a bit more how we get to this point.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So 2021 was probably the most, let's say, challenging and at the same time the most rewarding year of Virši history. We had a lot of things going on. So I will start maybe already, as Vita mentioned, that we have been able to deliver very strong financial results, as you could see. And we are very happy about that, because that gives us a fundament for further development, by that we can invest these resources in further expansion of our network, and also about developing our new products and segments. But also, which is very important, of course, is that, as you may recall, that in November 2020, we launched a very successful IPO. And in terms of Latvian capital market, it was a record IPO in terms of new investors attracted. It was nearly 10,000 investors which we attracted. And of course, we are happy about being able to deliver this major project. And also, it's very important to know that we are continuing expanding our network in Latvia very rapidly. So it's 5 new stations which we opened in 2021. And also, it's important to know that besides these 5 new, we are also able to modernize or renovate those 23 stations of existing network. So it's in total, it's a very, let's say, big job which has been done. And also, very important to note and stress again that in mid 2021 we launched our electricity sales segment, and currently we are able to offer our customers from legal segment electricity product, and we are working in launching this electricity product also for private persons in 2022, and later on also natural gas will join this product bundle. In terms of alternative fuels, we are continuing to work on our CNG infrastructure. We are also working on and having quite many discussions about biomethane topic, because currently in Latvia we would be willing to establish cooperation with agricultural companies, and therefore use this biogas, which is currently available in Latvia, quite let's say a large amount, which we could later use for developing biomethane. And of course, we are continuing also this work on electricity charging network. We are very clear on what is vision for this field, when we will do and what. And we are also looking at some European funds available to accelerate this electricity charging network, let's say, increase. And in terms of sustainability, which is of course a very big topic currently, because of course ESG is something everybody is looking more and more each day. In terms of this sustainability, we are also doing concrete steps. So the first one is that we have already implemented solar panels in one station currently, but we are working on implementing these solar panels at least 10 or maybe even more stations in the next couple of months. And therefore we will be, when sum up this solar panel power, we will be one of the largest solar, let's say, energy producers in Latvia. Secondly, so electricity charging stations, which is also, as I mentioned, very important topic. And there will be few new stations this year. but we are also working, as I mentioned, with European funding to understand whether we can accelerate this development much, let's say, quicker. Biomethane, again, a big topic. We also purchased some shares from one of the companies operating in Latvia, which is a company which is providing mobile charging solutions with CNG. And we are also seeing that this company is very well fitting with our group because they are also being able to put biomethane in gas infrastructure once we will be able to produce this biomethane. And therefore, we are working quite heavily in order to be the ones who are having this biomethane in the Latvian market. Hopefully in roughly 1 to 5 years, as already we mentioned in public information in IPO. And solar parks, which is also a topic which we want to develop. Currently, we have not yet established, let's say, one large solar park, but we are already having several projects, which I'm confident that one of them we will be able to launch, and then solar parks will be also the topic which we will already have been established. So that's on ESG, and now we are turning further to business segments, first of which is our convenience stores.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jan. So convenience stores, we might call them internally in Virši like a unicorn for Virši. Looking at the growth we are experiencing over the past years, and let's say that strategical and focused development the convenience stores are having right now. If we look at the 2021, we'll later on get to the dynamics of how we grow, but looking at the challenges we also had over these years in 2020 and 2021, they obviously were under the sign of COVID-19. We experienced two main effects on our convenience store segment. So we had to experience change in client dynamics. They became less, they were sick, they might not be able to attend the stores as we had these restrictions on the square meters per client. And we also had the challenges to face from the labor market. We also had the entering new, let's say, the market chain in Latvia, and that put a lot of stress on all the labor market for the convenience stores employees as well. So we were facing these two challenges and balancing and dancing somehow to get the best result out of it. At the same time, with the COVID-19, we also observed that the habits of the customers were quite a lot changing, and then we changed with them. We tried to provide more digitalized solutions. We reviewed the products on the shelves. We also understood that actually the new habits in the station when the square meters are restricted are more of a fast in, fast out approach. And you need to provide client with the best service and the best speed so that he is safe from the virus, he has everything he wants, and also we get the best we can from ourselves. And that made us differentiate the services we provide in the stations with DPD and medical services at the same time, and also develop new goods. One of these goods we developed in the late 2020 was our customized coffee for the private sector, B2C, which was a half kilo packaging, and we saw that this is a very loved product. And right now, in February of 2022, we actually have even bigger packaging of the coffee available in all of our stations. And this packaging is 3 kilos of coffee, and that's actually a good news, I believe, also for our Baltic investors that might be coffee lovers. They can take this big package of coffee and take it with them and remember about their good investment and high quality coffee we have. We also worked a lot on the sustainability, and already from the second half of the year we felt this change in the inflation in our goods purchased, because obviously that was from about half of the year, we had this really big push from the resource price increase, and electricity and gas affected every single production step for our goods provided, and also our own production, and as a result, that landed also on our price increase on the shelves. Nevertheless, our shop experienced, like, historically the biggest growth in one period, and that was a 7 million increase in the turnover. Actually, that was almost double the increase if we look at the last 3 years. On average, every year we grow by 3 million euros. And what is a good one, that we didn't only grow in these in the turnover, but we also sustained the margin and even increased the margin we had by selecting carefully and changing the goods we provide to have the best value added also for you as the clients. That has been a huge development. If we look at the 2020, we already saw that that's a crazy growth, but 2021 was just amazing for all of us. If we look at the retail business as such in our portfolio, then we set up the target on in our IPO presentation that we would like to have our market segment as more than 50% by 2024. Looking at the results of 2021, it's already close to 50%, so we're almost there, at least with one of our targets. And we believe that the work done right now will have a sustainable growth also in the future. As of today, and right now, we are opening our 66th station in Ulmanis, next to Riga, and that's a good news. It's a brand new store with a new concept of design we are having in the last stations, and you're welcome to try it out. Looking at the market, we also, just to sum up, in the graph, you can see how dynamics for us work. In 2021, compared to 2020, our network has grown by 33%. But in general, the store network has been growing by 24.2%, and that's including Virši growth. So that's a really good news, and we are thankful to our team for movement in the stores and development.
Yeah, exactly. So I will continue about the other very big segment which is in our company. So of course that's about fuel. And if we start about what is happening on the left-hand side with the market, so we can see that 2020, as you may recall, was a year of COVID, and therefore there was actually a decrease in fuel sales in retail in Latvia, 3.6%. But we are already in 2020, we actually were not decreasing so much as a market. Now, if looking at 2021, then we see that the market has been bouncing back with this growth of 3.7%, but Virši has managed to grow much faster than the market, so by growing by 6.1%. And of course, we are happy that we are able to not only increase the market share, but also to deliver it in a financially sustainable way by keeping also our margins. Yeah. So in what happens in the market as such in Latvia, so of course it's also similar as in other Baltic countries and also in the world, that the oil price in 2021 increased by almost 50%. We obviously therefore see some increase also in pricing in retail market in fuel products. But of course, recently in the last couple of days, the situation has been even, let's say, more challenging, because oil price is now already by far exceeding this $100 benchmark per barrel, which is of course a very high level. But at the same time, we are able to, of course, we have these fixed margins on each liter sold, so we are not so much, let's say, directly financially affected by this growth in oil price. I also have to remind that Latvia is the market with the highest excise tax for diesel product, which is of course harming our competitiveness versus Lithuanian and Estonian markets, but that's the way how it is. And we are also seeing an interesting trend that diesel is continuing to increase its share in retail fuel market, now already close to 77%. And this tendency is still increasing, so petrol is then with some 15%, and then the remaining is this LPG product and also CNG product. And what is also a very interesting tendency in the market is that this demand for alternative fuels is continuing to grow, and therefore we are very happy that we have this CNG network which we can provide to our customers, and we see that a lot of customers, including bus parks, logistics companies, and also waste management companies, they are going towards this CNG product because it is delivering significantly less CO2 emissions in nature. And therefore, as you can see, we have more than doubled these CNG amounts in 2021, and we are very confident that 22 will continue in a similar trend. Yeah, financials.
Yeah. So we get to the income, let's say profit calculation to this year. And as I mentioned before, our net profit for the reporting period has been 6.6 million euro, which has been 58% increase if we compare to the 2020. And if we look at the 2019, it's almost doubled. If you look at the EBITDA, the result was 9.7 million euros, and here the increase was around 23%, which has been a very high result for us as well. As we said in the IPO presentation that our target was 9. We still believe that with our targets set for 2024, when we were quoting Virši shares, we still believe that we are going towards our target. We obviously understand that the situation in the market globally right now is quite unstable, but as I mentioned above, right now we are analyzing daily our results and predicting the possible scenarios, and we still believe that our plans will be fulfilled. If we look at the results in more detail, then we see that there has been quite substantial growth in the turnover and the net sales, and this came from 3 effects, one of which was external, which was oil price, as Jānis mentioned, but then there were 2 strength effects, let's say. That was the liters rise we sold in last year, and also the convenience store result. As we remember, then this growth in the convenience store and the liters sold, that's there to stay, I believe, because we are really doing a focused and strategic work to expand on these 2 segments. Our gross margin percentage-wise has been decreasing a bit compared to 2020, but that's mainly related to the oil price swings. Right now, we see that the general increase in the gross profits are 4.5 million, and then we see that in the future there is potential to grow even more. If we look at the main cost factors, then obviously in the last year there were 2 main things happening in our profit and loss balance. One was the labor market push, where we obviously also increased the number of employees by expanding the stations in the full service station segment, but at the same time we had also this market push from the increasing competition for labor in our in the positions where we have the most number of the employees. So in the net, the staff costs, the personal costs, wages and related expenses in total grew by 18%. And then there was a second segment which was also pushed from the macro side. It was electricity prices and the resource prices as such. They also had some impact on our profit and loss statement. And we worked hard. We actually look really in detail what's happening in the market, what is the purchase activity, in which hours is the purchase activity, and by planning our costs really carefully, we have landed to a historically very high results. And we're really happy for that, and we are stable on this in this beginning of the 2022 that has brought us a new challenges. Time before I mentioned you the electricity instrument that has been potentially at one point that has been having effect on our net result by 1.51 million. You'll also see in the balance sheet from the both sides that we have recognized the assets and liabilities side of the derivative. We have fixed our electricity price for the period of 2023 and 2027. So in this period, we believe there won't be any big swings in our profit and loss from at least one of the potential resources. And we're looking forward to get our situation even better by solar panels and other investments. But right now you see that in our profits there is, let's say, one-time revenue recognized, and it's 1.1 million in the financial revenues. In total, even if we exclude this increase in our net profits, we will still land in our net profits increase by 32.7%. And if we look at the Latvian economics, as we always compare that right now the potential estimate for 2021 was GDP growth by 4.8%. Economists see that at this moment, if let's say, we'll see how the economic situation moves, if we land at the stable situation sooner, than the potential growth in next year could be also 5%. Well, but we have some handicap, let's say so, and we believe that we have a strength to sustain whatever we have imagined for us. Let's go to the assets.
Yep.
So the balance sheet. In this year, you have a significant increase in our capexes. We have invested 14.7 million in our assets, in our intangibles, property, and also right of use. This growth has been almost 2 times the last year's investments. It grew by 7 million, and in 2020 it was the same 7 million in the investments. During this year, we, as Jānis mentioned, we renovated fully 23 fuel stations. Some of them had like tremendous changes. We had the station demolished to zero and built up from scratch, basically. And we also had 5 new fuel stations adding up to our network. At the same time, we also expanded our CNG network. We opened the station in Olaine, Brocēni, and Cukurs in Liepāja. So we had quite good work done to help our clients to decrease the CO2 emission footprint. And all these investments basically were done by having our operating profits and by attracting a new loan from SEB Bank that helped us a lot in developing our network stronger and better recognized for our clients. If we look at the balance sheet, there is one more bigger investment this year done, which is, as Jānis mentioned, investment in Gason, SIA. We invested 1.5 million euros, which gave us 30% of the company. This step was done to help extend CNG network in Latvia even more. At the same time, also having it as a significant tool for the biomethane production and distribution in the future. That's one of our targets from prospectus when we went to the Nasdaq, and that's one of our milestones we are reaching and looking forward to. And if we look at the balance sheet from the both sides, as I mentioned in the profit and loss, you will see derivatives recognized. All the derivatives are related to the electricity price and electricity purchase for the period of 2023 and 2027 mainly. And this balance has gave us net income for 1.1 million, and has gave us some, let's say, security for our future. Looking at the cash balance, they have increased quite a lot. Also, the trade receivables and inventories. If you look at the trade receivables and inventories, these effects are mainly from the fuel price increase. Looking at the cash and cash equivalents, as we remember, it was already far away in the November 11. We attracted funds in Nasdaq and from our new shareholders, and that's what brought you here. Let's go to liabilities side and let's look at the effect. So as I said, in November 11. We joined the stock exchange, and our net funds attracted for our future development were 7.3 million. These funds were attracted to help us develop on several directions, solar and electricity, and also in biomethane and IT developments. And right now we see that we still, let's say, have this funding. We have started to invest in our targets defined, and we believe that we will manage our plans as set till 2024. As we announced last year, in year 2021, we also issued a new dividend policy. We decided that from the board side, we will suggest all the 20% announced in the dividend policy to be distributed in dividends this year, which rises up to 1.3 million euros for the profits from 2021. That would give you an earning 8.8 cents per share before tax. And our plan is to have a shareholders meeting in May this year. The further information will follow, and obviously then there will be your decision and the payment according to decision made. If we look at the liability side of the company, we see also there is a quite substantial increase in our liabilities from the trade payables and also in loans. So the trade payable effect was mainly from the fuel price increase. On the other side, a time before I mentioned you had the loan increase of 8 million, so that the bank financing attracted was targeted to our existing network development, and at the end of the year, we are having the balance sheet where our current liquidity ratio, current assets to current liabilities, is 1.22. That's quite a lot increase in the strength comparing to 2020 and 2019, when the ratio was around 1. At the same time, we are looking at the net debt EBITDA in the first slides. Then you also remember that our EBITDA, net debt to EBITDA ratio is 1.3, which is also quite low enough and gives us capacity for the further development of our stations and further security. If we look at the, let's say, the upcoming market turbulences, if there will be such. Yes, so to sum up, I believe we had a quite successful 2021, and also at the same time we have landed at our strongest muscle-wise figures in 2022, and we are ready to face the challenges, right?
Yeah, exactly. If there will be such.
Yeah.
But basically, to conclude the presentation, I simply wanted to emphasize what have we promised in our IPO prospect. So you can see what are the key numbers which we are willing to deliver by 2024. And obviously, by showing you what we have done in 2021, each of you could see that we have been over-delivering in basically each of the lines, and therefore we are very confident that also these targets for 2024 are remaining at the same as before. And of course, we will do our best to manage to achieve these numbers. So that's pretty much on presentation side, and I guess now we can proceed to the question section. And I see that we have, I guess, several questions. So let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for the presentation. All right, without further ado, a reminder that if you have anything to be asked to Virši or any comments from your side, all of those are welcomed through the chat. So you please use the chat window for that. So the first question that we have received, how would you comment on the future changes in the energy sector considering the events in Ukraine?
So I guess we can define energy sector by three main fields. One is oil, second is natural gas, and third one is electricity. So in terms of oil, what we can see is that probably there will be some continuous high pricing level for oil, which obviously will impact economy negatively. But I guess in terms of the whole Baltic region, it's important to understand that each of the oil producers already have announced that even in case there would be some shortages from Russian crude oil, they would be immediately able to provide the fuel from other sources. And actually, they are already now diversifying these sources, and already now they are doing these things. So from, let's say, potential fuel delivery problems, I don't see any, let's say, realistic reasons why it would be so. Secondly, on natural gas, also what we see is that, for example, a year ago, we saw that natural gas is actually costing around 20 euros per 1 megawatt. Now we see that the pricing is at least 100 euros per megawatt, and today it's of course even higher because of situation in Ukraine. Here, I guess we can discuss about the potentials that this LNG terminal, which is in Klaipėda in Lithuania, that this terminal could potentially be used for delivering natural gas not only to Lithuania but also to Latvia and Estonia, in case there would be some, let's say, movement in order to reduce this dependency on Russian natural gas. So I guess there is also what we call like Plan B in place. And electricity, I can also remind that Baltic states are like a deficit market, meaning that we are producing a lower amount of electricity than we are consuming. But at the same time, this deficit is compensated currently by electricity from Russia and also electricity from Scandinavian countries. We see that this impact from Russian electricity is decreasing each year. We also see that there are new, quite big projects in solar energy production, also in wind energy production, and therefore I think that this dependency on Russian energy market will continue to decrease, and therefore I would say that also on electricity field we are, let's say, quite okay. So that would be probably a broader answer to this.
Thank you. The second question that we have received, how company's daily business has changed after welcoming new shareholders after the IPO?
Honestly, yeah, I can maybe at least partly take this. Not much. We of course are understanding that we are now responsible in terms of several thousands shareholders, not only a few of them as before. And therefore we are of course understanding that our, for example, communication in media and also some other things are like we have to pay more attention to that. But also at the same time, we are quite naturally doing it because we are already, also before IPO, we had a clear vision what we are doing with the companies, that we are also moving into the ESG field quite extensively. And therefore, we are of course very happy about the new shareholders. We are very happy that we see that they are using our loyalty program quite often, because I can remind that we have quite good discounts and products for our shareholders. But like fundamentally, we of course don't see like huge changes.
I'd see. I have this common feeling that we have more, let's say, shareholders like an active clients at our base. We are measuring our loyal clients in 3 months period. So right now we cannot say how many of them are like really sustainable and loyal clients, but we see that the activity is very good. But from my side internally, from the company, I'd say also we have quite several employees that has purchased the shares, and that this optimism and involvement of the employees that are shareholders is also very positive and really engaging.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we're responsible also in front of our colleagues.
Yes.
Thank you. What is the planned dividend policy and potential payout? Is there anything that you would like to add in addition to the presentation?
Nothing in specific, just to sum up. So that's 20% suggested from the board, which is 1.3 million, and potential distribution would be happening after decision in May.
Thank you. And currently the last question that we have received, top plans for the development of alternative fuel sources in Latvia.
In this field, because for let's say heavy trucks, we have already established our CNG network. We are currently the only ones in the market being able to do that, and we are happy about the results because we, as I mentioned, also we see that a lot of companies are moving towards lower CO2 emissions, and this is a product which is actually helping a lot to achieve the same. And also, as we mentioned, that this is the first step to become also the distributors also of biomethane, yeah, because biomethane you can also use in the CNG network. And biomethane, if maybe anybody needs to understand more, that it's actually the green, let's say, natural gas which we can produce locally, which is also like our local wells, maybe even we can say so, because we have a lot of biogas stations in Latvia, and we can use this biogas for producing this biomethane, which is exactly the aim which we want to achieve in next couple of, let's say, quarters. And of course, on light car segment, we are continuing this electricity strategy, and there will be a few new electricity charging points already this year. And if we are succeeding in this European funding attraction project, this expansion of electricity market will be even more, let's say, more significant in again couple of next quarters. In a much longer term, of course, we are also looking at LNG for heavy trucks, and also maybe even more longer term about hydrogen, but that's really, let's say, longer terms than currently.
Thank you. We're then ready to wrap the session up. We hope that this was a valuable hour spent together. And with this, I would like to remind you that we have recorded the session and the recording will soon be available. So please follow VIRŠI announcements. Jan, Vita, thank you for the participation. Thank you for the presentation, and participants, thank you for
a lot. Yeah,
thank you everybody, and wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.